lot going on here right now, and I think with the proactive approach of the government and the British Film Commission and the economics that make it viable for American producers to come here, there will be a continuation of US films that are shot in England.
But the government wants British films to be made, which is why in Cannes in May it awarded almost £100 million of lottery money for homegrown productions, and in the budget announced major tax breaks. The climate has persuaded Evita director Alan Parker to return from Hollywood and head the British Film Institute.
I didn't go to America for swimming pools and a nice lifestyle. I went because no one would finance our films, because no one would finance any films, and now they will. And that, you know, in the end, that's the difference.
Choose life, choose a job.
Films like Trainspotting have shown that British productions can, with their mix of originality, technical quality and popular appeal, be both critical and commercial successes. Because the industry wants to make films that people want to see.
It would be a tragedy, and we should be crucified if we don't make a success of this enormous initiative which has been developed over the past year. We've got to get people into the cinema, we've got to get them to see our films, we've got to be successful with our films.
Grosse Point Blank, starring John Cusack, Minnie Driver.
Flowers.
It means enticing home talented rising stars like Minnie Driver, who went to Hollywood 4 years ago to make her name.
Oh, I know.
Today she is back on the set of a low-budget, Arts Council-aided British production, a costume drama called The Governess, and just the kind of film the industry wants to make more of.
For me, it's so familiar and it's so wonderful to be home and working rather than being a stranger and a foreigner. And being here, it's just, you feel the burgeoning sense of something being reborn. I mean, you do feel a sense of renaissance. I do, coming to Pinewood and it being teeming with people everywhere and working sets and hordes of people. It's incredibly exciting.
Action! Filmmakers are being encouraged by a new 100% tax write-off on projects with budgets up to £15 million. And then there's the lottery money. The first of the lottery millions will flow into British film production next month, eventually funding as many as 90 new British films over the next 6 years. Kevin Dunn, News at 10, Pinewood Studios.
Sports news. The England bowler Phil Tufnell, left out of the previous 5 Ashes tests, left his imprint on the 6th with a total of 7 first innings wickets. But captain Mike Atherton again hardly made any impression, out for 8 in England's second innings. At the close, England were 52 for 3, 14 runs ahead. Peter Staunton reports.
It was Phil Tufnell's day. It may not be enough to save England from another defeat. The Middlesex spinner was on devastating form with a wicket this morning to add to his 2 from yesterday. And this afternoon there were 4 more, 3 of them thanks to Stewart's eccentric but usually effective wicket-keeping. This was one method which doesn't appear in any of the training manuals. The last one was the simplest. For a while it looked possible that Australia might not match England's meagre first innings total. But Shane Warne took great delight in creating a slim lead. Tufnell finished off the innings with a flourish, his best performance for years. He'd been picked for the squad but then discarded from the previous 5 Ashes games. So England went into bat with renewed hope. It quickly evaporated, as first Atherton failed, perhaps for the last time as captain. Stewart was plumb LBW to Kasparovich this time. Butcher, though, had cause to complain about this decision. England once again fighting to save the game.
Sure, yeah, it was disappointed to be bowled out on the first day, and we had to get ourselves back in the game, which I think we've just about done so we've got to do some good batting tomorrow.
But whether they can create a big enough lead to worry Australia must now be very doubtful. Peter Staunton, News at 10.
Soccer. Manchester City are still looking for their first win of the season. Tonight at Main Road they drew 1-1 against Tranmere. City took the lead with this goal from Kevin Horlock, but Lee Jones scored the equaliser for Tranmere. Swimming and exhaustion caught up with Britain's Paul Palmer as he tried to take a 3rd gold at the European Championships in Spain. 2 Italians took 1st and 2nd. Palmer had to settle for bronze in the 400 metres freestyle. He blamed his poor performance on a lack of sleep. The main headlines again. The crew on board Mir finally completed crucial repairs to the space station's power supply today, but only after a leak in one of the cosmonauts' spacesuits had put the mission in jeopardy. British cosmonaut Michael Foale called it a super day's work. And Israeli police have arrested a man for the murder of a British hitchhiker and the shooting of his girlfriend. And finally, the Prime Minister's children were today given a holiday souvenir they'll never forget. The Blairs were presented with a pony by the local council of the French village where they've been staying. Mr. Blair said thank you, in French, of course. Ian Glover-James reports.
After a long lunch in a pleasant walled garden in the south of France, the Blairs emerged with the French Prime Minister, who lives near their holiday home. Mr. Blair was presented with a local pony, a gift from the village mayor, to his daughter Catherine and to his 2 sons. To equine approval, the Prime Minister found himself making an impromptu speech in the town square, joking about the usual run of gifts a Prime Minister receives.
Jusqu'à ce moment, j'ai jamais reçu un cheval. Ça m'étonne, mais je suis très très content et ça me donne beaucoup de plaisir. Et plus important, ça donne beaucoup de plaisir aux mes enfants.
The Blairs' children, seen earlier, were not present. And after a village toast, the pony decided to stay with the Blairs' friends in France. There's no room at number 10. Ian Glover-James, ITN.
And that's the news. Good night.
Good evening. 2 distinctly different types of weather across Britain today. Still warm and humid in the south, brighter and fresher in the north. The 2 weathers separated by this weather front. It's a band of cloud. It's produced a few showery bits of rain today, but it's set to go back to the north and west through tonight and tomorrow. As it does so, a heavier burst of rain will move along it, so rain coming in tonight and through tomorrow across the central slice of Britain before the weather front begins to move south and east again during Sunday and Monday. It's a very changeable holiday weekend, as you can see, but we all get some sunshine at some stage. As far as tonight's concerned then, that next outbreak of rain coming up from the southwest, heavy bursts of rain in places, the far northwest missing it and staying dry, the far southeast staying dry too, but another very sticky night there with temperatures in the high teens. Tomorrow will start cloudy for many with outbreaks of rain across those northern and western areas, but that will gradually fizzle out, I think, through the day, with 1 or 2 brighter spells around, mostly in the east, the west perhaps rather more cloudy. Along both sides of that weather front, the northwest again has a bright day, just a scattering of showers, and the southeast quite bright too, hazy sunshine there, but even a little hazy sunshine in that sticky air to the south will bring temperatures zooming up to around 28 again tomorrow. It's much more comfortable in the northwest, 19 or 20, typical maximum there. And then on Sunday and Monday, well, the weather front's still lying across central parts of Britain, bringing its outbreaks of rain on Sunday. They'll drift in towards the south and east on holiday Monday, while the rest of Britain fairly bright, as you see, with just a scattering of showers. So the southeast, hot and sticky for the next couple of days, showery rain moving down from the north and west. Have a good weekend. Here's a summary.
Power gen. Generating electricity, whatever the weather.
And now the Anglia Airwatch report. Although there's rather more cloud around than of late, in the sunny spells that do develop, sunburn risk remains medium. The change in air mass, along with some patchy rain, has improved air quality to very good. But the return of continental air tomorrow means air quality will fall back to the good category.
This is Anglia. At 11:05 tonight, The Warehouse. First, Anglia News Extra.
In Anglia News Extra tonight, police hunting for a missing 12-year-old boy
find a body 50 miles from where he was last seen.
A former Israeli army major is arrested for the shooting of Charlotte Gibb and the murder of her boyfriend.
Hello and welcome from me, Tim Curtis, and Isabella Clark.
We've got the region's top news stories, sport and features.
Also tonight, a special report as this year's harvest ends. Are farmers in the region willing to find new ways of producing our daily bread? That's the future of organic farming later in the programme. First tonight, though, police investigating the disappearance of a 12-year-old boy have launched a murder inquiry after the body of a child was found in Woodland near Thetford. Thomas Marshall left his home in Haysborough in Norfolk on Thursday and hasn't been seen since. Detectives say a member of the public discovered the body of a young boy 50 miles away in Rowdham Heath off the A11.
This is the scene at Rowdham Heath tonight. Forensic officers have joined detectives to search the area. The young boy's body was discovered in Bracken, close to a picnic area just off the main A11. A pathologist is now examining the body to try and establish the cause of death. Thomas Marshall was last seen on Thursday night when he left his home in Haysborough to bike to nearby Eccles to see a friend. Around 100 police and volunteers had been involved in looking for Thomas. Sea searches and checks with friends and relatives produced no clues as to the youngster's whereabouts. Helicopters were also brought in to scan the area between Haysborough and Eccles for any sign of Thomas. Then early this evening, what was thought to be his bike was found in East Ruston near his home, but there was no sign of the boy. Then tonight the search was switched to Rowdham Heath. 20 officers are at the scene and a murder investigation is underway. David Golly, Anglia News Extra.
A former Israeli army officer has been arrested in connection with the shooting of student Charlotte Gibb and the murder of her boyfriend, Max Hunter. They were shot on holiday in Israel nearly 2 weeks ago. Charlotte is from Deeping St James near Peterborough, and she's now being treated at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge. Her doctors said today that it's a miracle she survived. In the first of two reports now, Penny Young has the details of the day's events in Israel.
These pictures of the 20-year-old student badly wounded in the face, arm and hand being rushed into hospital in Beersheba were flashed around the world. Charlotte and her boyfriend Max Hunter were shot in southern Israel almost 2 weeks ago by a gunman who'd given them a lift. She survived, but her boyfriend died. After emergency treatment in Israel, Charlotte was taken to Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, where she's now being treated. The news of the arrest in Israel came this afternoon in a press conference. The gunman was a former Israeli army officer. He's been named as 45-year-old Danny Okev. Mr. Okev has reportedly admitted everything to the police, according to Israel Segal, a journalist with Israeli television.
Police investigators reached him. Immediately he confessed about the crime. He said, I murdered them. That's according to the official police resources. But he cannot explain his motive. He says that he does not know why did he do it. What appears to be, it's like a kind of a blackout. He doesn't know how to explain it. He does not remember the details, although when they reached him, he said, well, I waited for you. I knew that you will reach me and that you will come to me, and here I am. I did murder the guy.
Charlotte's parents were told this afternoon by Cambridge doctors as they sat by their daughter's bedside. They said in a statement, we're glad to hear that someone's been arrested. Also this afternoon, the doctors talked in detail for the first time about Charlotte's injuries.
A senior specialist at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, who has been treating the 20-year-old Deeping St James woman for the past 4 days, marvels at Charlotte's miraculous escape from death.
I think it must be 1,000,000 to 1 shot, to be shot through the face and not have serious repercussions from it.
Using a 3D scan reconstruction X-ray of Charlotte's skull, Adlam described just how close a bullet had come to ending her life.
You can see this is where the entry wound was, which is just in front of Charlotte's right ear, just in front of the jaw joint, missing the facial nerve. That's the important nerve that moves the right side of your face. And in fact, the bullet then came out just below her left eye. So in fact it went in just in front of the ear and came out just below the left eye.
Charlotte's parents, David and Jennifer Gibb, have been at her bedside both in Israel and here in Cambridge since the shooting. And this afternoon the parents of her slain boyfriend also paid their first visit to Charlotte in Addenbrooke's. Addenbrooke's Hospital hopes that Charlotte will be well enough to return home within a week's time. But extensive physiotherapy will be needed if Charlotte is to keep her pledge to resume her university studies at Durham in October. Paul Dolby, Anglia News, Cambridge.
A teenager who carried out a series of arson attacks on houses in Peterborough was jailed today. 19-year-old Ian Lambert was given a life sentence for each of 9 offences, but the judge recommended that he serve 6 years. Louise Adamson reports.
For 3 months, residents in the Bretton, Walton, Paston and Warrington areas of Peterborough lived in fear of the arsonist. Lambert started 9 fires by pushing lighted materials through letterboxes. One fire destroyed the 12th century rectory at Paston. Some residents were so worried they blocked up their letterboxes and left buckets of water inside their front doors to try to protect their homes. At Peterborough Crown Court today, Lambert pleaded guilty to 9 arson-related offences carried out at the end of last year. Louise Adamson, Anglia News.
Too much money is being spent on a handful of high-security prisons such as Whitemoor in Cambridgeshire. The Chief Inspector of Prisons, Sir David Ramsbottom, says the £150 million spent on secure prisons is starving other jails of money. But now prison officers at Whitemoor are worried that Sir David's report could lead to budget cuts. With this report, Pat Beasley.
Sir David says that the regimes at ordinary local prisons are being decimated at the expense of the government funding for upgrading security at the country's 6 high-security dispersal prisons. £10 million has been pumped into Whitemoor since the 1994 attempted armed breakout by 6 inmates. The prison authorities declined to comment on today's report, saying any decisions would be in the hands of the government. But the Prison Officers Association say they fear it could lead to savage budget cuts next year.
Well, I think it's one of the catch-22 situations for prison staff, is that something happens, i.e. the escape of the prisoners from the SSU. There's a reaction to that by putting money into it to upgrade security, then the costs become too much. So the prison department or the government try to reduce those cuts. That does have quite an effect on staff morale.
Sir David says he doesn't argue with the need for top security, but he does question whether prisons like Whitemoor represent full value for money, especially in contrast with the impoverishment experienced by other jails across the country. Pat Beasley, Anglia News, at Whitemoor Prison in Cambridgeshire.
A 53-year-old man from Wales has been charged with attempted murder after a shooting in Northampton 20 months ago. Samuel Willett from Pontypridd was remanded in custody by Northampton magistrates. In January last year, a man was shot in the stomach at the Ecton Brook Travellers site. More than 50 officers, some armed, were used to seal off the site. Bomb disposal experts carried out a controlled explosion this evening on a suspect package found in the town centre at Wisbech. Police cordoned off the area after the package was found on Freedom Bridge over the River Nene. Nearby houses and commercial properties were also evacuated. The package was apparently a hoax, and police inquiries are continuing to find out who left it there.
Thanks, Tim. Coming up later in the programme, the secret of looking really cool in the summer heat. That's how the experts do it. Find out how I got on a bit later. But first, back to Tim for a special report.
The government has announced a fresh look at organic farming, hinting there might be more money for farmers who are willing to go without pesticides and artificial fertilisers. But would many be won over? With European subsidies being cut, few farmers seem unwilling to commit themselves to going completely organic. But as Linda Fairbrother now reports, there could be an alternative.
Less than 1 acre of arable land in 200 is farmed organically. Back in the 80s, the call was to have 1 acre in 5 by the year 2000. But if anything, there's less now than there was then. The profits just aren't there.
I'm a tenanted farmer, so I have to pay rent. It's quite an initial cost of setting up organic. I don't think possibly my landlord would be too happy with not receiving rent for the years it took to go over to organic farming. So yes, it is the bottom line.
There's more to it than profits lost while the land gets its organic ticket. Organic wheat sells for nearly twice as much as conventional wheat, but you can't grow as much of it on the same amount of land because of pests and weeds.
There are certain techniques of using mechanical equipment, but it's difficult and expensive to do, and I think this is one of the major limitations to the expansion of organic farming. Nowadays you don't get, and you can't expect armies of people to go hand-hoeing fields as we had to do in the old days.
Those who do make organic farming pay are generally in a niche market like meat production or dairy products. These piglets live the good life on 2 acres of land near Ely. Ronald Finn got his first pig as a birthday present 10 years ago and gradually built up a business, which now includes 15 beef animals and geese, as well as the pigs. The meat is butchered on the premises, selling for about 20 to 30% more than conventional produce. When he and his wife Pam began, the profits disappeared when they sold to wholesalers, so now they sell directly to customers. But it's not an easy life.
We're lucky to get a holiday. It's not a 40-hour week, it's more like a 90-hour week plus, and it's a 7-day week because the animals need feeding even on Christmas Day, and twice a day at that. So it's a dedication rather than a profit-making enterprise.
And that's the problem for ordinary farmers.
This farm has a turnover of £200,000 a year. It's enough to make a living, but no one's going to get rich out of it. And that really is the bottom line for organic farming. It's very labour intensive, and the yields will never be the same as conventional farms. So it's difficult to really make it attractive to other farmers, even if you charge a lot to your customers.
The government is now taking what it calls a fresh look at organic farming, especially whether giving farmers more money to tide them over the first 5 years of conversion would encourage more to convert. But farming experts are very dubious, and in any case, could that cash be better spent?
I think it would be much better if they were to widen their horizons and look at how they can encourage a much larger proportion of farmers to farm in a more environmentally benign way and in a more environmentally friendly way. That is clearly what society wants, and clearly what the vast majority of farmers want. I think that would be a much more appropriate targeting of support and incentive and encouragement to farmers, rather than focusing on organic farmers.
For instance, money could be used to encourage all farmers to plant more hedgerows, to harbour predators that eat pests, and to leave a strip of land along the sides of fields for animals and insects. Such organic-style methods could help the environment and also mean less pesticides would be needed. Modern technology can help too. For instance, farmers can have a computer in their tractor linked to a satellite taking pictures of the crops. The computer analyses the information and then directly controls how much pesticide or fertilizer goes where, so less is used and only where it's needed. It's all part of a new way of farming, neither wholly organic nor wholly conventional. The government is asking for comments on whether organic farming should get more funding by the end of September. In East Anglia, at least, the mainstream farming community will give a mixed answer. No, we don't want to go organic, but yes, we do care about the environment. So think again where your money could be best spent. This is Linda Fairbrother for Anglia News Extra.
Still to come on Anglia News Extra, all the sport, including going ape, the rugby players getting into the swing of a new training routine.
Hello, welcome back. We're returning to our top story tonight, that of a missing boy from Norfolk and a body of a boy being found in Thetford this evening. We have an interview with one of the detectives working on the case.
A passer-by, a local man from the area, had stopped to use that particular location, to use the toilet or to take a rest, and whilst walking around he discovered the body.
And how long have police been on the scene now?
We were at the scene very quickly. and we're still here. We've got the Home Office pathologists, we've got the forensic scientists, we've got our scenes of crime officers. We're doing a thorough forensic examination of the scene, and we'll keep the scene and preserve it through the night and conduct further searches tomorrow.
Are you in a position to say this is a murder inquiry at the moment?
It's definitely a murder inquiry. A post-mortem is yet to be carried out. The cause of death is unknown, but the circumstances that we face at the moment lead us to believe that it's a murder inquiry.
Police clearly looking for witnesses in that case. Now we'll go to Isabella and the roundup of all the sport.
Athletics first. Bedford's Paula Radcliffe broke the British 5,000 metres record at tonight's Memorial Van Damme meeting in Brussels. Radcliffe's time also broke her own British record, set just a year ago, and it was also a new Commonwealth record. Even so, the world cross-country silver medalist had to settle for second place, behind the world champion Gabriela Szabo. Well, if you're not battling bank holiday traffic and getting away this weekend, there's rugby action in the region. It's the start of the new season, new sponsors and a renamed premiership. Northampton begin at home in the First Division against Harlequins. Stuart Gerald has been talking to the players and finding out their hopes and ambitions for the coming season.
It's hot work being a professional rugby player. Cooling off in a pool at Franklin's Gardens has become essential after intense twice-daily training sessions.
And the priority this year is top four, it's as simple as that, and the guys are up for it. They're far more professional. Nowadays, everyone is totally professional. There are no part-timers in the top squad of 30.
The British Lions experience, gained by 5 of the Saints in South Africa this summer, should mean higher standards, individually and collectively, and a more ruthless edge at club level.
I think that we've played, a hard game last year or the year before that, but nothing really came close to how we felt after every Lions game. We put our whole heart into it. So that's the main point I'm trying to get across to the boys here, is that you really think you're tired, but there's still plenty of gas left in the tank, as we tend to call it here, and we sort of dig in a bit harder, tackle harder, and run faster for longer.
2 forgotten Lions also hope to be a force this year. Martin Bayfield, who missed most of last season with a troublesome pelvic injury, and Ian Hunter, like Bayfield with the Lions in New Zealand in 1993. Paul Grayson, who came home early from South Africa because of a hip injury, is now fit, but currently suffering from tonsillitis. So Gregor Townsend, who turned down big money offers from Bath and Cardiff, will start in his favourite number 10 position, although he's been given no guarantees.
No, I think they will consider me as a fly half. It's up to me to prove my form. If I'm not playing well, I'll be on the bench or playing fly half in the seconds. But also, if there's injuries, I'm there to cover centre.
So you will perhaps make the odd appearance at centre if necessary?
Yeah, well, that you don't know how these things turn out, but I'm trying to concentrate on playing standoff just now.
New stands have been erected and more executive boxes built to increase Northampton's ground capacity to nearly 10,000. The big push now is for success.
I'm pushing, Geach is pushing, Matt Dawson, etc. They're all pushing the other players, and that will just leads to greater competition, which leads to higher standards. At the end of the day, we can't have a season like we did last year. We can't be underachievers. At this club for too long, we've been messing around really, and we've got to be top four. That's our priority. Europe next year, and we're going to achieve it.
The second division kicks off in a week's time, but Bedford have lined up Pilkington Cup holders Leicester. They've got no first division game, and that'll be a tough friendly at Goldington Road. Football, and a new signing for Norwich City today. He's 31-year-old midfielder Peter Grant, a £200,000 signing from Celtic. He comes straight into the squad for tomorrow's match against Crewe. Ipswich have been busy too. They've signed a top-line striker on loan ahead of tomorrow's match at Bradford. Looking ahead to that and the rest of the weekend action, here's Richard Henwood.
Ipswich travel to Bradford convinced they've come up with the ideal solution to their striking problems. With injuries to players like Alex Matthey and Paul Mason, they've signed Mark Steen on a 2-month loan spell from Chelsea. A goal scorer here while playing for Stoke, he goes straight into the squad at Bradford.
I'm just saying it's important to keep a strong squad. We've got some, very good players. Our form so far has been excellent in the 2 games we've played in, so we'd like to keep that type of form going.
Norwich are looking for their first points of the season against Crewe, and they may gamble on the fitness of midfielder Mike Milligan, who's missed the start of the season with knee and thigh injuries. In Division 2, Luton have been given a timely boost ahead of the match against Fulham. They've been allowed to recall goalkeeper Kelvin Davis from a loan spell at Hartlepool to replace the injured Ian Foyer. And Northampton, who take on Bristol City, have been given permission to play lone striker David Seal against the club which still holds his registration. To Division 3 now, where Cambridge will be unchanged for the trip to Chester, a team likely to be among the leading candidates for promotion this season.
Chester were involved up there last year in the playoffs. They'll be a hard team to beat, and it'll be a little bit of a test for us. But I think it's a test that the players are looking forward to.
Finally to Peterborough, who play Hull, hoping to build on last weekend's 5-0 win at Doncaster Rovers. 16-year-old Matthew Etherington has been added to the posh squad, and there could be a place in the starting lineup for Mick Bodley or Mark Foran.
Well, look, playing sport is a fine way of humiliating yourself.
Yes, just ask any England batsman.
But few sports rival water skiing for sheer potential in the how to look like an idiot stakes.
Yes, if you doubt it, take a look at this. Now, this is something I've always wanted to try. They say it's a bit dangerous, but that really shouldn't put you off something as cool as water skiing. The resident expert today is Greg Perry. Greg, do you think I can do it?
I'm sure with a bit of help we can get you going.
I'm a real wild one. Well, I'm just out of school, like a real cool. Gotta dance like a fool, got the message and I gotta be a wild one. Phew, yeah, I'm a wild one. Gonna break it loose, gonna keep it moving wild, gonna keep it swinging, baby, I'm a real wild one.
Well, my turn now to take the plunge. That's not me. No, nor's that. This is me, falling over on dry land. He isn't impressed, and can you blame him?
And slowly stand up. Stop there. Okay, sit down again. Just a couple of times, so you get the feel of it, then we'll try you on the rope. Okay, when you stand up, got to make sure you do it really slowly. Okay, keep your head up. Yeah? Slowly stand up now. Good. Okay. This is pretty much exactly the same. You just got to do it all a little bit slower. Okay. We're going to go this way. Yeah, that looks good. Stand up. When the boat starts to pick up speed a little bit, just roll forward onto your toes, and then you're going to stand up. Bend your knees, arms straight.
Look, I'm trying, all right?
Put the handle down over your knee. Wrap it around your knee. Making it look really difficult. I'm a wild one. I'm a wild one. Baby, I'm a wild one. Gonna break you loose. Gonna keep on moving. Yeah. Running out of legs then.
No running out of lake for the pros. They water ski with style and prove that taking the plunge can increase your cool ratio by about 200%. A bit of dry land coaching and about 15 minutes on the water will set you back around £10, though prices do vary widely. There are water skiing centres throughout the region. Contact the British Water Skiing Federation for more information on 0171 833 2855. That's 0171 833 2855. Well, I didn't exactly shine at water skiing. How do you think I'll fare at inline skating? I'll be taking the plunge next week.
You were hopeless at water skiing, weren't you?
Yeah, the instructor wasn't very impressed, was he?
Inline skating next week. If you're not any better, it'll be more like ploughing. Anyway.
If you fancy having a go at water skiing or any of the other sports we've been featuring in the series, then there's a fact pack. Write to Take the Plunge, Anglia Action, Ipswich, IP1 2QA.
But that's it from us tonight. Thanks for joining us. Do have a good bank holiday weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Anglia and Sun Life, helping you plan for tomorrow.
The night will be rather cloudy with some patchy rain or drizzle, and it'll be very misty. Tomorrow may start dull, but sunny periods will develop and it'll become hot. On Sunday, most places will be dry and hot, but a few thundery showers may spread to the west later.